Welcome to Drum and Drummer, a podcast focused on drums, drumming and drummers. I'm George Pickering and that's Ben Winty, and we are both professional drummers in this business we call music. So stick around and join us as we pass the time whilst trying to stay in time.
Anyway, I've annoyed myself just by talking about Christmas because breaking my own rule.
Is it because they don't do those cheese things at M&S anymore?
Yeah, it's a fucking disgrace.
Welcome to Drum and Drummer. No, go on. What were you going to
lovely.
say?
No, lovely.
No, even your hand went up.
My hand was up.
Say something.
I was thinking of something to say.
Yeah.
It wasn't happening, so you stepped in. That is teamwork.
Because I always just assume you'll do it, and then I feel like once every 30 episodes, I'll start it, and you'll be like, "Oh, hello."
Yeah.
What's he doing? He's taking the reins.
Yeah.
Taking Lorraine's. Taking Lorraine's Kelly. Doesn't work.
Taking Quiche Lorraine.
Quiche Lorraine.
You all right,
do you
boy?
think
Oh,
Lorraine Kelly likes Quiche Lorraine?
Sure.
Sure, why not? We got a guest today.
We certainly do, yes. We've had a lovely chat with Ciara.
Yes. I mean, we always sort of explain what we talked about, but should we, I don't know, how much do we want to talk? Because I don't want to discuss what we talked about because it was a good chat.
It was a
But
very
we can
good chat.
say she does drum camps. She did a masterclass at the UK Drum Show. She teaches drums. She's played in many a band. She's someone who follows us on Instagram and is always kind enough to like our posts and stuff, which, you know, every like helps us reach the goal of #1 podcast. We're coming for you, Joe Rogan.
Well, if you want, George, we can just go straight in.
Should we just go straight in?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Just stop all this whining.
Who, me?
No, just everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just do the things. Here we go.
I assume this is your drum studio.
Yes, it is. Sorry
Nice.
if it's a bit echoey and
No.
weird.
Sounds good, actually.
Yeah, I haven't been in here long, but that's the student kit, and that's my one, and it's very fun.
Love it.
Yeah.
Amazing. This is my
Yeah.
new room. It's very small. It's it's ridiculous. I've recently just got it. I won't bore you too much with it, but it's a vocal booth room within a studio.
Yeah. I've heard about this. Very efficient. That's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this.
Oh no, you've been listening. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it was like, I mean, that's my way of justifying how small it is. But so I do. Today is podcast day. You know, tomorrow, who knows what I'll do in here? I might bake a cake. Who knows? But yeah. Anyway, we should probably get on. We were all at the UK Drum Show recently.
Yes.
But we didn't. I mean, bump into each other. But I mean, you were not only there, but you were performing. Am I right?
You're right. I'm sorry I didn't get to see you guys.
No, it's okay.
But you know what it is like? It's like nuts there, isn't it?
Yeah, it
There's
is.
a billion people, too many booths and too many drummers to go and watch. Not enough time.
Yeah. Which day were you there?
I was there both days,
Oh, were you?
but I was just playing on the Sunday in the lounge,
Nice.
and it was good.
Yeah.
It's
Had you
very
played-
welcoming.
Yeah. Had you played there before?
No.
Oh.
No.
Nice. How did you find it? Was it all right?
Yeah, like I've done stuff in the past where I've been so nervous, like not sleeping for, I don't know, weeks. And so when they asked me about this, I said, yeah, okay, cool. Happy to do that. And I thought my nerves would just be like through the roof, but they were actually okay. I think it was helpful that the room was just such a nice vibe. It was just really intimate. Everyone was just, I don't know, I guess in one way you think drummers are the worst people to play in front of, but at the same time, they all know what you're going through. They all know like imposter syndrome and that you're just trying to do your thing.
Mm.
So I found it actually really supportive and not that bad.
Nice.
What was the when they asked you to do it? how long in advance was that?
And what was your plan to be prepared?
They asked me, I think, in about May, so it was quite a way off. And my plan, I knew I was going to just talk about odd time signatures because I really like it, and I feel like maybe I can help some people in that area and make it less scary. So I knew I was going to talk about that, but I took a long time to consider. This might sound a bit woo-woo, but I wanted to know how I wanted them to feel about it. So I thought about, okay, what do I want the people watching to feel after? And I wanted them to feel like inspired in some way. So I would just like write stuff down, like what would be helpful, what would be inspiring to this kid here or this dude over there. And so I concentrated a lot more on what I was going to say, and then planned out all the tracks to go along with that, if that makes sense.
I mean, how long did you have? How long was the show?
40 minutes.
Right.
So it flew by. But yeah, I just had a plan of this track, going to talk about this track, want to talk about this, and then like tie it all together.
Yeah.
So what is it about?
Go on, Ben.
About odd time signatures then? What do you like about them? Because they are like, I don't know, some people can fear them, but you seem to embrace them.
What is it about them?
I think it is the challenge. I think I like a challenge and being able to figure it out and make friends with it, and then it's not so scary, right? And I also think Gavin Harrison said something about this, about there's freedom in restriction. And I definitely find that. So like if someone says, all right, Ciara, do a drum solo. No, thank you. I'm going to like just run away. But if someone says, oh, could you play this in, I don't know, 15, 16 or whatever, I think, okay, let me work it out. Yeah, I can do that. I can make it less scary because there's a restriction. So I know what I can do.
Well, in regards to that, I've got to ask, in terms of the show, is there any guidelines on what you're expected to do, or is it you've got 40 minutes, have fun?
That's a good question. They said to me, you've got 40 minutes, deliver a masterclass.
Right.
So I just knew I had to kind of teach something or try and convey some ideas at least. That was my approach, and I just wanted to get people up playing as well, so it's a bit more fun and so it's not just so focused on me,
Yeah, definitely.
What's your favourite odd time signature then?
What's the
7.
7?
7. Yeah, definitely.
I love how you said that as if like, yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
obviously, guys.
Yeah, no, I saw the Harry Styles song you did in Odd Time Signature. I mean, that sort of blew my head a little bit. That was a bit weird because I was listening to it expecting it to be normal, and then it's not.
It's totally
in a
not.
good way.
I know. I am just a geek, really, and I just spent too long in Logic, like with the slice tool. I don't know what I'm doing in Logic, just like slicing it, going, okay, I'm just going to make it last for 7, and I'm going to move that there. Silly, but fun for me. I don't know.
Yeah,
it just was like aching to be in like 7.
Yeah, it's cool. It's unique.
When you're teaching, how soon do you approach odd time signatures with students? Is it something you feel would be beneficial if they got in there a bit earlier,
or is it something that can only really come once you understand the sort of main 4s?
You know what? I don't actually teach it that much to my students because I think you do have to have an interest in it, and I don't want to confuse anybody with the numbers or the counting and things like that. But I do a lot of 3/4, and I think that's really good segue into like 5. If you can play 3, if you can play 4, you can play 5. It's just one extra hit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's easy to just go in there. So if I can see that they're into it, so like, Foo Fighters, Making a Fire is such a good song because it's in 3/4 and then it changes to 4/4. And if they really like that, I'm like, okay, maybe a bit of Mission Impossible in 5 or something else.
I think that's
and then
the
if they
thing.
like it, I'll do it.
Yeah, I guess it's making it approachable, maybe. Because if you just said this is 13/8 groove, see if you can do that, it might be a bit like, well, why? What is this? But I used to use Money by Pink Floyd as an introduction to Odd Time because it's sort of, then it's something you can play along and it doesn't, I think, I don't know, I feel like with Odd Time signatures, when it's a song that doesn't feel weird, that's when it's maybe a good introduction as well. Because some do just, you're like, oh, okay, I'm aware this is Odd Time. But when it sounds normal and you can kind of disguise it to a student, I think maybe. I don't know.
100%. I agree with you. And I think like Sting does it really well. And Dave Matthews does it really well.
Yeah.
And I think, it's all music and I don't want to intimidate anybody. Or, to me, when I got into Odd Times, it seemed a bit intellectual and stuff. And I'm definitely not that way. So I just want to introduce it to people in that like friendly, if I can do it, then absolutely anyone can, because, I'm not the cleverest person. So yeah, and I've nearly finished a book about odd time signatures. So I'm excited for that to be out, and it's the same thing. I just want it to be really easy for people to get it.
Does the book have, is it like exercises and things, or is it?
It is just structured by the time. So like there's a chapter in 3, there's a chapter in 5, 7, 9, and you can just pick one or you can go through it. And it's like from the very beginning, from each time, it will show you a really basic groove. And then you can move on from there if you like. And then there's some like complicated level up situation if you want to like add some ghost notes or if you want to do some accents over the bar, stuff like that. But it had to be, for me, easy to start off with so anybody can get it.
Where did that come about, writing a book? It seems like quite a challenge.
Oh, God, it has been. I don't know, COVID, I guess. Like COVID, I feel like everyone had loads of free time. I didn't because I've got 2 kiddies. But at the same time, I was not as busy as I am now. And so I just had some moments and I thought, and I was getting a lot of questions about it, to be honest. And I just thought, you know what, there needs to be like a really like easy guide so people don't freak out.
Is it aimed at a particular age group or skill set?
Not really. I guess for those who aren't super confident, I would say. So if you're already like, an expert and are doing crazy things, then you might find it a bit slow. But it's just aimed at anybody who is not super familiar or wants to get good or get more confident in it.
Where do you get most enjoyment from within your career? Because obviously teaching, but also playing live. Do you feel like, I mean, this is the impossible question, but as your career goes on, it will be more catered towards the drum camps, which we'll get to, and the teaching, and less playing live perhaps? Or
Yeah, I think so. I think I found that, like, I've done so many gigs. And then when I had my kids, there was a weird time where, like when I was pregnant, I thought, nothing's going to change. Hi guys.
Yeah.
Let's just, book all the gigs. It's fine. Yeah. Something about having a family, it makes gigging, it needs to be really good for me to do it, because now my time is just super precious to me. And I know everyone's time is precious, but I guess it's just changed that priority list for me. And so even though I miss gigging sometimes, it's got to be the right thing now. So I don't know, even though I do miss it and I do see it in my future, I think maybe it'll be like a personal project and maybe not playing for anyone else. So it might not be a massive stage, but it just might mean more to me in terms of maybe I've written the music or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. We had, I think Pat Garvey on the show.
Yes.
And he said near enough the same thing. He said, he's got kids now, and if he was to do a tour, it wouldn't be a tour for tour's sake, just for the hell of it. It's sort of like it has to be worth it, which makes sense. How do you find balancing drums around family life?
Very difficult. Yeah. Yeah. I just feel like it's the constant juggle, to be honest. What did Pat say?
He said he just wants to be a good father, and he was like, he can't be away for more than a month. Even because I have lessons with him now, and I spoke to him about it, and he said 3 weeks is about his limit now, you know.
Yeah.
And he is now going on tour, I think, but it's one of his favorite bands. Not to make this a podcast about that, but yeah. But that was what he said, you know. He was like, 3 weeks away, I can do that, but any more, you know, you'll miss his kids. But yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I do find it tough in the sense of when I had children, I didn't lose any ambition. I didn't lose any love for drumming. And so you can question your identity a bit, I think, when you start a family and start to go down that road of, well, what where's the space for me now? I'm looking after a baby. I've, haven't showered in a week or whatever. But then they get older. They're both at school now. But it is still quite a juggle in terms of I put a lot of time into teaching drum camps, like growing this business. So it's almost like another child. So yeah, some weeks are great and super balanced and I have loads of family time and I'm like nailing it. And then other weeks I'm like, oh crap. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know if we can swear.
Oh, you can do what you want. No rules.
And I've classic example of I had a drum camp and then I'm just shattered and it's half term and I'm like, oh my God, I'm just such a shit mum because I'm not taking them here, there and everywhere. But and I have help from my mother-in-law, so it can often feel like, I don't know if you can do both and excel in both at the same time. I just feel like I'm doing my best. And just hope for that. Hope that the kids are good, the business is good. Yeah.
I have a question, and what was it like? Like, what are the being pregnant and playing drums?
Mm-hmm.
Like, was there any effect? Like, when you start getting bigger, do you have to stop playing? Is there any, I don't know, noise issue playing a drum kit while pregnant? What are the sort of challenges or
a few things. Firstly, it felt like the only thing that wasn't changing, like people would go, oh, can you drum, da da da, but drumming just felt like, oh my God, thank God, this is the only thing that hasn't changed, because everything else bloody is. Like my body's changing, my emotions are all over the shop. My life is going to just be nuts for a bit, but drumming was like saving me, Unfortunately, there's not much research into any of this. So when I went to the GP or asked anybody, they're like, oh, don't know. Not sure about the sound. Sorry. But I think you just got to take it. Like, don't whack the snare and be in the studio for 8 hours a day. Because the baby's surrounded by liquid anyway, you're all right. But I'd say if anyone is listening and they're pregnant, just take it easy, trust yourself, but also just go easy. Don't go even harder, hit even harder. The only thing I did have to change is I did have to sit like further back. That was it. And couldn't lift stuff. So like the first, when I found out I was pregnant, I had like a gig on the Friday night, I had a gig on the Saturday night, and I couldn't tell anyone, which is so dumb, by the way, because I feel like when it's early, you need help. But I understand why you don't tell people, but often I feel like it's the time when you really need to, because everything is changing. So I just thought, fuck, how am I going to get people to carry my shit? I always do it myself. I'm not someone to go, would you mind carrying my bass drum? But I just kind of somehow worked it out. Good times.
That was a good question, Ben. As you were asking it, I was like, where is he going with this? But that was,
The closest I can get to is having an incredibly large dinner, which can happen
I wonder
often.
what you're going to say then.
Yeah.
Sometimes I
love
feel
that-
like I'm wheezing. I'm tired. I've eaten 8 sausages.
Can I just say, also,
and my mobility on the round the kit is reduced. And I imagine maybe not quite on a par, but
It's like that, yeah.
I love also, Ciara, that you said as soon as you asked, "Can we swear on this?" It's just been all blue.
I know, sorry.
I can't fucking carry this shit. I was like, yeah.
I can't fucking this shit.
First
Yeah.
10
what the
minutes,
fuck am I
we're
going to do
like
now?
getting to know each other, and now it's just it's.
You've given me the pass.
Yeah,
I can't swear
I don't
around
give
the
you a pass
kids.
for anything else. Well,
No.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, get it all out now.
So it's all happening now. Sorry,
I like
listeners.
that. We sort of made that into an episode of Drummer Mamas there.
Ooh,
How's that for a segue, Ben? Thank you. Well, let's talk about that because so we had one guest on the show once who had a podcast, but it wasn't about drums. It's hard to know what it was about, and he listens to this. But other than that, no one we've had on has a podcast, and you have had 2. I mean,
yeah,
Drummer Mamas, is that still going?
it is still going.
So we'll talk about that one first, and then we'll get
yes.
to Drum Education Live.
So, yeah, Drummer Mamas is still going. We've got about 6 episodes ready to release, but I wanted to record a couple of more, and then just release them every week because my downfall has been, let's do a podcast, let's do this, let's do that, and then nothing gets finished, right? Hence the book taking forever. So, yeah, the first season of Drummer Mamas was very ad hoc here and there when I could remember, when I had time. And so this one I wanted to just make a bit more consistent. So it's on a little break. Basically, I need to get my book done and then it's going to be out into the world. But that's been really nice, just speaking to other drumming parents, because it's not just women. We've had, now my mind goes blank, but we've had quite a few cool dudes on there, and it's just a nice perspective, talking about the juggle, I guess, and how things can change and what to do if you're both working and your child is sick. What do you do, and how do we navigate that when it seems to be we shouldn't really talk about it, it's not cool. So yeah, excited about that. Just need to finish my book, get season 2 out, and then it'll be rocking. But well done to you guys, because I think a podcast, it is such a commitment, isn't it?
Yeah, Jesus Christ, it is.
I think people don't realize how much. I think obviously there was a massive boom, I guess, before, but during COVID, where I think people had time and with the advent really of things like Zoom and Teams and things that had been around. I remember a couple of years before COVID, I was working on something with a friend, and he was like, "Oh, we could have a video call," and I'm like, let's just meet up, And now I'm like, absolutely video call, It took me a while to get used to it, and I think even me and George doing this the first few times were a bit weird, but
yeah,
it's certainly become the norm. But I think I saw a stat on the BBC News that only 7% of podcasts reach episode 10 or something like that, But I think that's with not just podcasts, but if you're running your own business or writing a book or doing things like that, things that are self-generated, self-driven. And I find it with mixing as well. It's one of the hardest things is just finishing the thing.
Yeah. You're doing that album, right? Is that right?
The album is finished now, yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Well done.
Finished. Thank you. Yeah.
That's so hard.
Yeah.
And just being consistent with the podcast each week, and
it's all we've got. That's all we've got. Consistency.
But it is because I was, we sort of said that from the start. We were like, we have to do it every week because otherwise people will drop off, and they'll go, oh, it's not out this week. And then that's, and now it's just every Thursday at 6 a.m. Whether you like it or not, people, it'll be here, until one of us dies or something. But let's talk about you rather than me and Ben talk about ourselves. Drum Education Live.
Yes. So that was a typical podcast that came around during COVID. That was me and my 2 friends Felipe and Mark. And I think we were just starting it for ourselves, you know, just to like show, so nerdy, like drum tips. This is what I'm practicing. And then someone suggested bringing on guests. So it was so great. Like, I have to say, the people we spoke to blew my mind and actually started friendships that I was not expecting at all. Like, so, yeah, it was really awesome to get the guests that we did, because some of it really has like impacted me in terms of just their like insight and their wisdom and their stories, and just getting to know these guests as people has been awesome. It was really great. Mark dropped off at one point because I think he was just too busy with his teaching stuff. And then me and Felipe decided to pause it. My fault, because I just had too much stuff going on, and was struggling to make that weekly commitment, basically, and do all of the things. I mean, he was putting it online, but when I was doing that podcast, it really mattered to me that I gave it thought and, you know, looked up that person and made sure I knew who I was talking to. And I didn't have time to do that as much, just with, I don't know, the world's being back, and I changed my business. Like, I used to teach at school, and then I just took the leap to just teach privately. And so that was a whole other big responsibility, and the book, and yeah, it was a lot. So I just said to Felipe, I'm sorry. And I wanted it to grow, you know, and for it to be better. And I didn't see it growing. I feel like we'd reached our peak level. So it just felt like, let's just go away. And maybe if we ever do one in the future, then it's going to be way better and just different.
I almost want to ask, what surprised you about doing the podcast that you perhaps didn't think would be a benefit of doing a podcast?
I just think I was continually surprised by how lovely all of the people were. Like, they're all just people, and some of them I put on a pedestal, you know, but most of the guests were just so giving with their time and with their just wanting to share stuff and help. That blew my mind. I don't know, just like, and my husband would go, just get over it. It's just, they're just a person. But you know what it's like when you're speaking to, like, you know, the late, like, Don Familaro, Dennis Chambers, Sarah Thawer. It's just like, what?
Yeah.
And they were all just so wonderful and just chatted like, you know, like your mates.
We are people too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ben said that actually at the UK Drum Show. He said, isn't it funny how we walk in there and it's like, oh my God, that's, you know, it's him. I think I walked past Jojo Mayer and we saw Grayson Nekuchram and all these people, but we thought as soon as they walk out onto Liverpool High Street, no one really knows. But in our drum circle, it's like, you know, but as you said, yeah, we've had it, and we just sort of talk to these people, and I'll tell our friend, oh, we've got him or her on, and they go, how did you get them? And it's like, we just messaged and they said they'd be up for it. And it was almost, I think we were shocked when we started at how, I don't know, receptive people were, you know, as you said, people that you put on a pedestal and you go, do you want to do our podcast? Like, yeah. You're like, okay. Like, you know, we were sort of waiting for our luck to run out, but
no, it's not going to run out.
What's the neon light say on the back of on the wall there?
It says, do the things.
Do the things. What things?
The important ones.
Okay. And they are?
Not all. For me, do the bloody book.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. I got that sign because last year I turned 40 and I just changed loads of stuff. It's like, what am I doing? Let's teach privately. Let's do drum camps. Let's just do it. Do the things that I want to do. And I don't know if you've ever had this and you're like, why have I not done that before? Why have I taken so long to decide to do that, just do it. So that's just like a little reminder if I ever get worried about something I want to achieve, just to just do it.
What would you have, George? What would be your motto? Your little phrase in neon lights?
God, what, behind me here?
Yeah.
Well, for this room, do one thing at a time.
It's too small.
Yeah, it's too small. Yeah. My thing would be do one thing at a time, because I get to, right, I'll do a bit of this and a bit of that. Whereas if you go, no, today is just this, I sort of learned that from you, Ben, just doing recording and I can play my Lego or whatever. But yeah, do the things. I like that though. And right, okay, well, here's a question. Do you feel like everything is leveled up then in the last year? Because it does look like suddenly you're doing a drum camp and a masterclass and, privately teaching. Did that all sort of happen at once then?
I guess it's all come from there.
Yeah.
It's been really intentional, like to change these things. And just to pay more attention to what I'm listening to as well, and the people I'm listening to and what is achievable. And I guess turning 40, I don't know, it's like makes you question things, like much to does when you turn 30, I suppose, but like just take stock and like, hang on a minute, you're 40 years old, come on, what are you doing? So yeah, I feel like it's just been loads of hard work, but rewarding as well. It's just been, very intentional acts, one after the other. I'm going to do this. I'm going to try this. A bit scared of this, but I'm going to do it.
Well, yeah. So, I've got to ask about the drum camps because I almost want to leave a vague question of how did that start? What are you doing? Not what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
You're doing the things, George.
Yeah, doing the things.
It's up in lights.
Drum camp, the things. Let's talk about your drum camp, She Can Drum. Let's start with that.
Yeah. So, it started when I was talking to this amazing lady in America called Karen Wolf. She was on Drummer Mamas, actually. And she's just like so inspiring, this lady. I don't know what it is, and this is meant in the best way. When she spoke, she had this like quiet authority, almost like, you ever seen This Is It, Michael Jackson?
I haven't, no.
He has this way, I feel like Michael Jackson had this way of being really like in control, and he's the authority person, but with love, like gently. And Karen, is like that. She's just knows her shit. She's such a good drummer. And so she started talking about how she was doing drum camps in America. And ever since that day, I thought, well, why isn't there not one in the UK? I'm sure I would have loved that. I would have loved to have gone drumming with a bunch of women. Why is that not here? So I looked it up. There was nothing. And I thought, I have to. I've got to do it. And so I did. And it was really cool. It was really nice. And I've just been obsessed with the idea. And it's really not to be an anti-men thing. It's just supposed to be a bunch of women hanging out, learning drums, and just creating a bond through drumming.
A, where is it? B, how long is it? And C, what sort of drummer is coming to that camp?
It's in Essex, because that's where I am living. It's for the whole weekend, so 10 till 5, Saturday and Sunday. And I've done beginners once, I've done beginner to intermediate, I've done intermediate camps. I'm probably going to do advanced next year. But what I'm finding is the majority of people who are coming are older ladies who have started later in life and who were like told they couldn't drum when they were younger, or they just weren't given the opportunity, they weren't encouraged or whatever. Some of them are super like not confident at all. And so the thought of drumming in a drum camp freaks them out a bit, but because it's really encouraging, it really helps them. And then afterwards they're like, oh, actually, didn't realize I could do that, but I can. And then it's just kind of turned into like this community kind of thing, where some people have come to 4 camps now, and they just come every time, and it's really, really nice.
What sort of things are being taught at these drum camps?
So the beginners one is like just completely from the beginning. We talk about grip, we talk about rudiments, how to hit the drums properly, how to even set up a drum kit, all of the things. This is a basic rock beat, these are some fills, this is a song, let's all play this song together. And then the kind of step up from there is more like complicated grooves, some 16th note patterns with the bass drum or snare drum, talking about opening the hi-hat, looking at coordination a bit more of rudimental work, and then intermediate changes each time, because I feel like it could be kind of a broad area. So like last time we did improvising and soloing, and the time before that it was more about dynamics and making sure you can play ghost notes really quietly and rim shot, and then we did a bit of linear drumming, so it can be really broad. And I put a lot into it. Everyone gets a book and stuff, and it's made so not everyone should be able to achieve everything when they're there the whole weekend, but it's there for you to study after.
That's great. Do you find, what are the challenges of teaching a group of drummers?
The challenges of teaching a group can be when maybe someone's not getting it and the rest are. But for me, it's really important that they get one-on-one time with me and that I can help them with that thing. So I will always create that opportunity for each of them, that we'll have more than enough time together. And so I can help them out with that issue, and also not make them feel like, oh God, this is the worst thing ever. It's not a big deal. And that they can do it, just might take a bit more time. The other challenge can be making sure that everyone has enough time on the drum kit, because we've got 2 kits, 8 people. So managing that can be a challenge sometimes, like with waiting around or knowing how to do it, because everyone is at a different level. But yeah, I learn each time I do it. And that's about it.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Ben?
I'd like
else?
a little bit of advice before we move on to our final question, which you might know what it is. So my niece is very interested in learning the drums. For a 5-year-old entering the world of drumming, is there a sort of template where you sort of start making those decisions on equipment and things in your experience?
Does she live near you?
No, unfortunately
So
not.
she can't have lessons.
No, they live in Oxford.
I think 2 things. I think maybe, I don't know if group lessons would be enough. It sounds like it's this rock steady thing at school. Don't know if that's it.
I'm not sure, possibly. I think they might look into individual lessons, but they're going to start her off in this for a term at least.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. But I also think if she really loves it, then a private teacher is the way to go over just relying on that. And I agree, an electronic kit's probably the best way to go in terms of, well, if she doesn't like it, they can sell it, right? And it's not going to be really noisy and take up too much space. But I always try and keep it as light as possible with the younger ones and just encourage them to just play to whatever. And yeah, as long as their expectations are realistic, I think they'll be okay. I think, do the term, maybe get a private tutor, and then electronic kit. See what
My
happens.
expectations are high. She's gonna be a star.
I'm
I'm going to further cement my status as the cool uncle when she comes to the studio one day.
Before we do the last question, that question made me want to ask, what sort of things do you teach young drummers? I mean, say drummers primary school age, because this is something I always had, struggled with. ages 5 to 8. It's like, what do you do?
Oh yeah, it's tough.
9-8 straight off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7-4. Here we go. 15, 16.
Yeah, come on. If you can't keep up, get out. I try and figure out what their favorite songs are and latch onto that. And I try and get to know them as much as I can. But it's a lot freer than some of my other lessons with older people. So we can just jam along to songs. I might go, now we're in here, I can say, all right, can you play this? And I'll play them something, and then we'll just jam back and forward. I try and get them to write stuff down and get them into notation that way, so it's a bit more them doing it. Yes, and I change things up constantly.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So like, 5 minutes this, 5 minutes this, 5 minutes this, da 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 da, thank you, goodbye.
Yeah.
Just because attention spans,
I think that's it. Yeah, I think across the board, that's it. Although, don't you find it's funny when you have an older student and their attention span is far longer? And sometimes I've had students where they'll stay on something for ages. I'll be like, right, we can move on now. And they're like, no, I want to stay until I got it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm like, isn't this nice?
I had one student who literally used to say, mate, if you want to take 5, I'm just going to work on this. And I always felt like I was cheating somehow as a teacher, but he'd be like, no. He was like, yeah, go off. I need 10 minutes to do this. So I go and have a coffee. It was mad. You can't do that.
I love it.
Though. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Can't be like, right.
See ya.
Yeah.
And I get terrified. It's like this little kid I teach, he's like doing this with a stick, whacking the hell out of my drums. And I'm like, dude, please, no.
Yeah.
The snare's called Gavin. Treat him well. Don't break him.
Does the rest of the kit have names?
No, just the snares.
Does your snare have a name?
Well, actually, my snare now is Gavin.
Yeah.
And then I've got Sheila over there from LA and Sugar, the black one, there. And the student kit one doesn't have a name yet. But yeah.
May I suggest George?
Yes.
Right. We can cut this bit out, but I want to ask purely drum teacher to drum teacher.
Go.
What if you've got a young student and they bring their parents in?
Yeah.
It's not even a question. Don't you find that just makes it way trickier to teach?
You know what?
Cool.
I really did. I used to feel super intimidated and be like, fuck, this needs to be the best fucking lesson they've ever seen in their life. But actually,
but if their kid's a dick,
fucking tell them off. Just say, dude, but now I pretty much ignore them. I pretty much ignore them, don't even look at them and get on with it, because they're not the teacher.
No.
Then they don't know anything about drums.
Yeah.
And if there's like misbehaving going on, then I will say to the kid, come on, listening now, or but and then hopefully the parent will step in.
Yeah.
And if they don't, how much do you want to teach the kid?
Yeah.
Harsh.
Yeah.
But
no,
I don't know. It's like, I know what I know. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
I sometimes record singers, in their late teens, 16 to 8, and their parents will be come and sitting in the session, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it, because I feel pressure to do my job well. They think their kid's the next Adele.
Yeah.
They're not. And I'm trying to get, sometimes they are good, but I'm trying to get something that I can work with, that I know in post-production I can clean up and make work. But the other thing is, the kid is feeling the pressure from the parents.
100%.
Because it's usually the parents paying, and the kid's like, sometimes they don't even really want to be doing it. The parents.
Oh God, yeah.
Yes. Sometimes I've now grown confident enough to just very quickly work out, are the parents going to be an inconvenience, or are they? If they just sit there and don't say anything, fine.
Yeah.
But I have developed confidence to go, you guys need to go and sit outside while we get this done.
Yes.
And then when it's finished, you can come back and have a listen.
Yes. Often it really does affect the kid. I've had it so many times.
I had there's this little girl, and her mum used to sit in, so she didn't want to be on her own, and she wouldn't say a word. I'd be like, right, we're going to do this. She's like, okay, and then one week her mum was like, I'm not coming in today. She didn't shut up. This girl, it was great. She's like, oh, I've got to tell you about this dog I've got, George, and that was it. And even at the end, the mum was like, did she talk your ear off? I was like, yeah. And it was almost like she knew, but it was like, I don't know, like her presence made her daughter scared, so then she didn't practice. And
totally, yeah.
Cool, let's move on to our final question, which is, who is your favourite delivery company?
Is that really the question? I should know this, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Who's
You're
yours?
talking out of the episodes early.
She gets bored 5 minutes in.
No, they're still talking about drums.
Shit!
Yeah.
Who's yours?
DPD.
Weirdly, Purple, I think Every have been very good at the moment, who were Hermes. But they seem to be who I get from. And they're all good.
They
I
are
do
good.
like FedEx because of Castaway.
Yes.
Something about the American, it feels very US. I think if you get something delivered by FedEx, it feels a bit transatlantic.
Special.
Yeah.
Well, I think then mine would be UPS because I love the van.
Yeah.
The brown electric
It's like
van.
the
It's the
yellow.
brown one,
It's
yeah.
like, and then
uniform.
Is that the one with the door that's not a door? Like,
yes,
it's just,
it's
that's
like
cool, isn't it?
American school bus. I don't know.
Yeah.
That definitely. When I see that, I'm like, hey, what you got? Sticks? No? Okay.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, another one.
That's
I love
it.
it. Like, forgotten your delivery. What we got today, Mr. Delivery Man?
Yeah.
It's like nothing. I haven't got anything for you.
Stop following my van.
Stop standing in the middle of the road when I'm driving down, trying to get on. Like, we need to put doors back on. She keeps trying to.
Yeah, she keeps trying to come in. It's a problem.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Where can people find you? Is that what you're going to say?
No, but yes.
People can find me either on Instagram. It's just Ciara Drums. Ciara is a weird spelling, people. It's Ciara.
DAVE.
Drums, or just ciaradrums.com.
Cool. What were you going to say?
I was
Ben?
going to say, you've got 2 children. Any budding drummers in the nest there?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Quinn, the eldest, she's like, no. Don't tell me. I know what I'm doing. She's 7.
Ah.
I'm like, all right, okay. Playing time then. No, we just do it very free. Sometimes we do a lesson, other times we don't.
If they were like, Mum, I really want to do drums, but they went, but I don't want you to teach me.
Totally fine.
Yeah. Would you prefer that?
Fine. Maybe there is different dynamic.
Would it be something, I don't know, like,
I don't know, but I guess I'd be picky with who they went with, I suppose. Or at a certain point, I'd be like, right, if you're super serious, then we need to make sure the teacher's on the right path for you. Because there is definitely a different dynamic going on because I'm their mum. There's a bit of, you tell me what to do all the time. I'm not going to listen. But maybe that will change, as they get older. We'll see.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Pleasure chatting.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're more than welcome.
Absolute pleasure. And thanks for all the, sorry, I just nearly knocked my mic off. Thanks for all the support on the Instagram. It's every like is appreciated.
No worries. I really like you, like the vibe. It's really fun and just real. Love it.
Nice.
Keep doing it, guys.
We will
doing
do
your
the
drum
things.
Yeah,
Do
keep
the
doing the things.
things.
Yeah.
Do the thing.
There you go.
Awesome. Thanks, Ciara.
Wicked.
See you later.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Bye.
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 There we go.
There we go. That was our
good,
chat.
wasn't it?
Yeah, that was good. As soon as I said, yes, you can swear, she was off.
Effing a jet. The amount I had to cut out. Oh, the things she was saying. Christ. I mean, I swear, but bloody hell, this was
All over the shop. No,
Yeah.
it was, great chat. Great chat. A lot of interesting things. I I didn't know what you were going to say when you asked, what's it like drumming when you're pregnant? Because I can't fully remember what you said, but it was along the lines of like, when you're pregnant, and I was like, where is Ben going with this as a man?
How did that happen? No.
What
happens
is he going
when...
to say? Yeah.
No, I think just, you know...
But it was
like,
interesting, yeah.
Just physically. I mean...
Yeah, because you can't drive a lorry over 12 weeks or something.
When they're, you know, pregnant, they've got, you know, big old belly, innit? With a baby in there.
Well, not just that, but the noise, as she mentioned.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you think...
Like the snare, you know, it's not... that baby's head is not far from a good crack and a good pop.
A rim shot, yeah.
Yeah. Absolute rim shotting for 3 hours. You know.
Baby's like, fuck's sake. Playing Metallica again. Whoa.
Playing
Metallica.
What? Metallica.
So
Again.
I felt like adding a few more syllables to the name.
But you know, I think the closest I've been to that is a big dinner. You know, like when you
That's
just
the
feel
closest
like,
you'll get.
cool.
Yeah.
When you're recording drums and you decide to have a Domino's for lunch mid-session, and then you come back for song number 3, and you're like, oh God, this is mobility reduced, breathing hindered, greasy hands.
Greasy hands, yeah.
You
Don't
know,
even wash your hands. Just get a load of Dominoes and then, right, I'm ready
feeling
for a
of
take.
regret significantly increased.
Yeah.
Lumbersome, is that a word?
It is now.
Lumberous. You know. So I don't know, but what are those implications?
Yeah.
But
among other things, she also does drum camps and teaches. And no, it's great chat, and nice to finally have her on. Anything else?
I don't know, really. I guess we're not. You know, we're sort of midway into the old month of November. Coming up to your birthday in December.
Yes, yeah.
When is it again?
The 7th.
7th.
Yeah, which is a Thursday.
Is it? Oh,
yeah.
The birthday.
George's big birthday bash.
And then
episode.
not that long till Christmas.
Well, we need to work out, are we going to do a Christmas special like last year?
Oh, yeah.
And I think so, but we still don't know who we'll have. Because I liked that last year.
Listeners, who would you like?
Yeah, who would you like? Actually,
Yeah.
Let us know. I mean, don't go crazy. Don't say Dave Grohl and Travis Barker because, you know.
No. Okay, let's narrow it down. From previous guests,
oh, okay.
who would you like back on?
Yeah.
Or if you had to pick one, who would you like? Who would you want to hear more from?
Yeah.
You know,
I think it'd be quite funny. I mean, just pick 2 at random. If we had Jack Geary and, you know, Emily Dolan Davis, they both were great at talking. You know what I mean? And I mean that in a great way. As podcast hosts, what you want is someone who just
does it all for you.
Yeah, you just ask them a question, they go off. So we had those 2 and us.
When do you just in Christmas in general? What's your when I just think basically like it's not been long since Halloween and bonfire night and all that shit.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, someone did fireworks near us on the 6th of November. Too late.
Also,
no one goes trick-or-treating on the 1st of November. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, but I also think equally Christmas, I think it should be a blanket rule. You can't do anything till the 1st of December.
Definitely. I think even then that's quite early. Growing up, we wouldn't put the tree up until me and Tom were finished with school, and that was like 18th or 19th. But then you get like a good hit of like a week of Christmas, and you're like, hell yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be tired of Christmas before Christmas.
No, exactly.
Anyway, I've annoyed myself just by talking about Christmas because breaking my own rule.
Is it because they don't do those cheese things at M&S anymore?
Yeah, it's fucking disgrace. Absolute disgrace. But I'm not going to be in the country at Christmas.
No, you're not.
No, I'm going away.
I'm working Christmas Day and Boxing Day and
double
the 27th. Time? Yeah, double time.
Yeah,
so I'm not complaining in any way. My God.
No.
Cool.
Anything else going on?
Nah, well, even if there is, save it for another episode. This is Ciara's episode, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And no. You?
I don't think so. Possibly looking to completely rebrand one of my wedding bands. But
Cool.
can
Well, that
save that
sounds
for
like a
another
whole
day.
episode thing. So
Yeah.
yeah. Right.
Sweet. Well, yeah, go check out Ciara on her Instagram, her website, and all that sort of stuff. And we'll let you know when the book's out,
Yeah.
and we can all learn about 7/8.
Mm.
Have a good week.
Yeah.
We'll see you next
Bye.
time.
Right.
Thank you for listening to Drum and Drummer. You can find us on Instagram at Drum and Drummer Podcast. And you can send us an email to drumanddrummerpod@gmail.com. Remember, just pick up the sticks and twat it.